a rare and balanced view on politics in today's world. Based on facts, born of rationality, common sense, and logic, providing context on today's events. This is American Perspective with Rick Thomas.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to this edition of American Perspective. I am your absolutely, your absolutely wonderful, always humble, at least because of all of you showing up, host, Rick. That's right. All of you showing up. It makes me feel humble because you're taking time out of your busy days to come and watch me. Yes, I get it. Thank you very much. My unofficial producer out there, Nana, she is on it. She's already reminding me about doing on this day in American history, but I've got a couple things that I need to get through first. Okay, so tonight, before I get into all of that, tonight, I am drinking out of the Jefferson's Reserve bottle. And there you go. I know it's kind of hard to see because I've got some reflections going on coming out of the monitors here that are in front of me. But there you go. Jefferson Reserve right there. That is what is in the fantastic gifted glass by the Whiskey Warrior P1s. It takes stones to drink with whiskey. And there are the requisite stones. So the requisite, of course, first sip. Yes, that is a good. I like it. Now, you guys saw this a while ago. I pulled it out, but I'm trying to rotate through these things. Oh my gosh. Chevy talks about, I just finished my Jack Daniel's decanter. Man, the missus and I were running around. We actually went to the Navy Exchange for our first time. We had not been to the Navy Exchange that's near us. And so we went there for the first time, walked around, found some things that are definitely a little less expensive there than in other places. But after that, we headed over to Costco because we had to buy dog food. But while we were in there, oh my Lord, Costco has, or at least our Costco does, has a huge, I'm talking a humongous bottle of Jack Daniel's. Now, I don't know. Yeah, I know they let Army guys in. It's amazing what happens when you have this little veteran card, you know? Yeah. So anyway, I know, believe me, I kind of made the comment to the missus. I said, yeah, you know, I don't know. I'm kind of like running around these Navy boys. You know, these, at least they're better than the puddle pirates, meaning the coasties. And also, I got to remember that the Navy also sort of includes the Marines as well. So anyway, yeah, no, it's all in fun. Believe me, it's all in fun. In fact, we have got I've got something coming up here. I've got a fantastic veteran that I want to highlight for tonight. It was, anyway, we'll get to him in just a little bit. But first, let's go ahead and do tonight's Pledge of Allegiance, led by none other than our very own Bonnie. I don't see Bonnie in the chat. I'm hoping that Bonnie will show up. I know that this is kind of a hard time of year right now for her, but yeah, we're going to be led by none other than Bonnie. So, if you are of mine, please stand, remove your hat if you're wearing one like me. Place your hand over your heart and follow along with Bonnie as she recites the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And, of course, I thank you, Bonnie, for that wonderful rendition of the pledge. If you would like to hear your rendition of the pledge played here on the program, all you need to do is record yourself performing or reciting the pledge in your style, then take that audio file, video file, whatever kind of file, and send it on to me. You can send it to me via email. Send it off to fans, F-A-N-S, at AmericanPerspective.online. That's fans, F-A-N-S, at AmericanPerspective.online, and I will get you into the rotation. I have 20. I'd like to get 21 before the end of the year, so hopefully somebody who has not sent one in will do so. That would be fantastic to get 21 by the end of 2025. Of course, it would have been poetic to have 25 at the end of 2025, but you know what? I'm not going to be greedy. Just give me to 21, please. If you do it on your phone, I have it from a very heavenly host he passes here. Buddy Weiser, the venerable Buddy Weiser, he says that if you use the share option on your phone, you can send it off. You can send it off to me using the share option. Not the Sunny option, the share option. Although 3 Chevy can use the Sunny and share option. Yes, I am dating myself with that. Anyway, it's... for those of you that don't know or are lost, look up Sunny and Share. Share as in C-H-E-R. Sunny is spelled just like you would expect. S-O-N-N-Y. Sunny. Sunny and Cher. Go ahead and look them up. They were a duo in the 70s before Cher got big-headed and decided to go out on her own and left Sunny behind. Anyway, at least I think that's how that goes. All right, let's go ahead and talk about the headline sponsor, which for tonight is the Institute on the Constitution. The Institute on the Constitution was established in 2004 as a 501c3 nonprofit with one singular mission, and that is to restore the constitutional republic through grassroots education. All courses and materials are developed using primary source documents and taught from the American view of law and government as defined in the Declaration of Independence in the following 3 key points. 1, there is a God. 2, our rights come from him. And 3, the purpose of civil government is to secure and protect our God-given rights. The IOTC offers the opportunity to educate yourself on our most precious founding document, the Constitution of the United States. They also provide tools to educate your community and get involved with local government. Start by taking their free U.S. Constitution course and go from there. Use my affiliate link, IOTC.AmericanPerspective.online, to sign up. And while you are there, take a moment to look through their other course material and information. My affiliate link, once again, is IOTC.AmericanPerspective.online to get great content, to learn about our historical founding, and support the show in the process. That's IOTC.AmericanPerspective.online, or if you just want to purchase this fabulous Saddleback leather-bound U.S. Constitution to support the show, go to Constitution.AmericanPerspective.online. And by the way, each book purchased will cause a liberal to have a socially unacceptable gastrointestinal dysfunctions. Kind of like, what was that guy? Eric Swalwell, who blew one on TV. Anyway, let's go ahead and check out this book really quick. First is this 1/8 of an inch of Saddleback leather wrapped around pages that are water and tear resistant. No cheap glue here, folks. It is stitched all the way through the binding, and the leather puts it all nice and tight and together. In fact, it's got a 100-year warranty against materials and manufacturing defects, such that if you have a problem, you can send this back to the manufacturer, and they will either fix it or replace it for free in that 100 years. It is Buddy tested, Buddy approved, Billy tasted, Billy approved. My youngest whiskey warrior has confirmed that the information contained within will help you to gain your civics badge in Scouts as well as pass that civics exam, and it might even actually help you pass that naturalization test as well. Woodens, well, we all know him as G. G says that the stitching is tough enough to seal the mouths of Karens from coast to coast. Yeah. That's some tough stitching there, let me tell you. All right, and yeah, so head on over to constitution.americanperspective.online to get yours today, and I, of course, thank them for allowing me to be an affiliate. Got some big news coming from them in January. But anyway, before we get there, just go to the Institute on the Constitution's page, go and check them out, and check them out today and look at their fabulous books and other things that are over there. All right, folks. My unofficial producer is jumping up and down. She's saying, do it now, do it now. It's called, that's right, it's called On This Day in American History. And, of course, for On This Day in American History, we read from the American Patriot's Almanac, written by William J. Bennett and John T. E. Cribb. William J. Bennett and John T. E. Cribb. And it's chock full. You can see we're almost done because we're almost at the end of the year. But it's chock full of all kinds of informations and little factoids about this wonderful country that we call home. Tonight, December 27th, we're going to talk about the North Platte Canteen. The whole effort was started by mistake. Several days after the Japanese attack on Pearl Harbor, people in North Platte, Nebraska, had heard that their own Company D of the Nebraska National Guard would be passing through town on its way from an Arkansas training camp to the West Coast. A crowd gathered at the Union Pacific train station to greet the boys with cookies, candy, and small gifts. When the train arrived, it turned out it was transporting a Company D from Kansas and not Nebraska. After a moment of disappointment, someone in the crowd asked, "What are we waiting for?" And they began handing their gifts to the war-bound soldiers. The next day, Miss Ray Wilson wrote the North Platte Daily Bulletin to suggest that the town open a canteen to greet all troop trains stopping there. "Let's do something and do it in a hurry," she wrote. So, beginning on Christmas Day in 1941 and continuing through World War II, the town offered itself as the North Platte Canteen. For 365 days a year, volunteers from the remote community of 12,000 and surrounding hamlets provided hot coffee, donuts, sandwiches, and encouragement for the young soldiers passing through. Hundreds of families, churches, schools, businesses, and clubs pitched in to help raise money, buy supplies, and make food. They greeted every soldier on every train with gifts and good wishes. By April 1st, 1946, its last day, the North Platte Canteen had served more than 6 million GIs. 6 million GIs. One veteran told Bob Grease, the author of Hour Upon a Town, I'm sorry, it's Once, not Hour. Wow, I really need better glasses, I guess. Once Upon a Town, the miracle of the North Platte Canteen, said, "You don't forget that when you're overseas. There was no place I ever knew of or ever heard about that went to that great effort. A lot of people might be willing to do it, or at least they might say they would be willing to do it. But in North Platte, they did it. And that is today's On This Day in American History. Boy, what a difference. What a complete difference in the treatment of our soldiers between World War II, Vietnam, Korea, well, Korea and Vietnam, if I were going in order, to Afghanistan, Iraq, Kuwait, and all of those, and now to today, the treatment of all of our soldiers and everything. What a roller coaster difference across time. I can't imagine any leftist town or city doing something like that for soldiers. I really don't. And that's really sad, too, because those people, those men and women now, who head off to fight our wars, to protect our freedoms, every single one of them deserves our thanks, our gratitude, and our grace. Every single one. In just a moment, I've got a fantastic story, or short story, about a Vietnam veteran who had what appears to have been a very good Christmas this year, and we'll get into that in just a minute. But for those of you that may not know, yes, it does snow in Florida. It does, I promise you. And we're going to see video of it right now. So here is, here's a short little video of a Florida snow. Now, keep in mind, this snow, this display for Christmas, this individual sets up a small little Whoville-like display so that people can get out of their cars that are going by, because this is a private person, get out of their cars when they're going by, and they can take selfies and photos in front of the Grinch and the Who's in Whoville. Let's take a watch. And there it is. There it is, the snow. Look at that. They get the little Whovilles and some sort of a, I don't know, screen or something like that in the background. Let's run that again just real quick. Here, one more time. And they got some sort of a screen in the background that shows like a Whoville-like display, and it allows you to go up and take photos. Now, I have it on good authority that no, this is not actual real snow. This is artificial snow made from alcohol, Dawn dish soap, and something else. I can't remember the other ingredient, but it's an artificial snow machine. And so there it is. So yes, folks, it does snow. It does snow in Florida. So, anyway, all right. Thank you, of course, 3 Chevy, for putting that in. Oh, distilled water. That's what it is. Distilled water, alcohol, and Dawn dish soap. All right. Let me tell you a story. This was given to me by one of my Whiskey Warrior P1s. And you know what? This actually is, let's see. It's about, which one is it? Let's go ahead and just do this. I don't get a chance to use this very often, so let's go ahead and kick this off. Oh. That's right. We're going to highlight America tonight. It's a Highlighting America segment, but this was submitted to me by Coco, and Coco has a father who is 79 years old. He's a Vietnam Navy veteran. He's also a retired Air Force Master Sergeant. Wow, he served in two of the branches. So I can't necessarily, I don't know which one to ridicule him about worse. Anyway, I'm just kidding. Much respect to the man who did this. So, really quickly, here is, sorry, that's later. So here is the man himself. His name is Keith, and like I said, he's 79 years old. He's Vietnam Navy vet, retired Air Force Master Sergeant. He received some fantastic gifts this Christmas. First up is a box, which you can see at the bottom of the photo. I've got a close-up here. Here it's showing up in a little bit, but this was the gift box for a flag, and then, of course, his military medals that he had received during his time. And that was a really nice gift, a very nice gift. But that isn't the only gift, because apparently Coco's nephew, Alec, found a place that made coins out of decommissioned military ships. Now, her dad worked on the USS Constellation while serving in Vietnam. He served 2 tours over there, and the ship itself was scrapped between 2015 and 2017. Now, her nephew, the studious nephew that he is, he found this site online and was able to obtain some coins made from the metal that was reclaimed, I'll say, from the ship. And so here is the certificate and one with the coin for this certificate of authenticity of the coin itself. And by the way, he found that site. He was able to order the coin contains metal. So now her dad contains or owns a piece of his ship, the USS Constellation, from the 1960s. The USS Constellation CV-64. Now, her nephew and sister, Nikki, also got a gorgeous bald eagle sculpture. And, yeah, they were all in tears, apparently, about how beautiful these gifts were. And the memories came back to this Vietnam veteran, 79-year-old Vietnam vet. Here's one side of the coin, close up. Get a little bit closer here so you guys can see this. Well, there's the coin, one side, and here is the other side. There it is, the USS Constellation, CV-64, which was America's flagship at the time. The memories came flooding back for this veteran, this well-deserved veteran. And he had a beautiful Christmas for his dad, and the whole family pitched in. Here's the case. It has his medals and all of his, some of his awards in there. You can see his ribbons. Let me get out of the way because there's a picture of him back then as well, down in the lower right-hand corner there. So, and they 3 Chevy. So here's a connection to another Whiskey Warrior P1. 3 Chevy says that his niece's father-in-law has one of the highest number of carrier landings on the USS Constellation. Small world. That's how we all are intertwined. Check all of that out. Well, there it is. The fantastic. And there's the eagle. Let me go ahead and close in on the eagle here so everybody can see it. So there's the eagle sculpture that he received as well. This is fantastic. All I gotta say is these veterans deserve our thanks. These veterans deserve our honor and our praise and anything that we can do for them, because they did things that so many people are unwilling to do, and they did it willingly in most cases, and were able to protect and keep our country safe in times of war, and make sure that people are able to go and do the things that they were doing. So anyway, and be able to live free here in the United States. Fantastic gifts for a fantastic man, and obviously a fantastic father, and a fantastic family that is very proud of their father's work and everything that he does. So I salute you, sir. I salute you. There you go. I salute you for all of your time in service, and I hope that you have many more wonderful Christmases to come. But I wanted to share that with everybody, because not everybody has the ability to do that. So, Coco, let me know if you need me to clip that out for him or whatever. Clip that video out for him. Just send me an email. Let me know if you want it, and I'll see what I can do about getting it and send over to you. Otherwise, you can just grab it off of Rumble or any of the other places. So anyway, all right. So Trump, being the troller, the comptroller, no, the troller that he is, because that's what he is. That's what he does. Trump is an amazing troller of the left. Well, whoever's running his multimedia account is just absolutely fantastic. You remember that Donald Trump appeared in Home Alone 2. Home Alone 2 Lost in New York. Okay? And let's just say that, some things have been running around, especially with the release of the redacted Epstein files. Somebody made a meme where they redacted Donald Trump out of the Home Alone 2 scene with Macaulay Culkin when they meet in the lobby. Well, Trump, on Christmas Day, on his Instagram account, shared a social media post depicting Donald Trump as Kevin McAllister. Let me go ahead and show this to you. There it is. As Kevin McAllister, and they basically took the Home Alone image and put in Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. Which, by the way, I don't know if anybody saw the Christmas card, or at least one of the Christmas card pictures of Joe Biden and Jill Biden. Jill pretty much stands in front of him and tries to eclipse Joe in the photo. Now, I don't know if she did it on purpose or not. Who knows? Who cares? But seriously, that's not something that you would necessarily want to release, especially if you're trying to keep, But anyway, yeah, there it is. Trump and Kamala and Joe Biden. Joe Biden is the Joe Pesci character. That's just funny. Anyway, creativity from the Trump team. Just fantastic. Oh, I love those guys. Anyway. All right. Well, so speaking of, eclipsing, actually, let's just talk about saving some money. The FBI has lived inside the Hoover building, named, of course, for J. Edgar Hoover, who is considered to be the father of the FBI. They've lived in the J. Edgar Hoover building for so many years. I can't even imagine. I mean, I can't even count how many years. I don't even remember when the FBI was formed or when the Hoover building was created or whatever. Well, Kash Patel, one of the things that he said that he was going to do when he became director of the FBI was essentially that he wanted to get rid of the Hoover building because in his mind, having the headquarters and all of the leadership of the FBI in D.C., Washington, D.C., sort of defeats the purpose and sort of defeated the, shall we say, the effectiveness. Okay? The effectiveness of the FBI. And mainly just because of the fact that the FBI, of course, being centralized in D.C. makes them not want to be centralized anyplace else. Well, Kash Patel yesterday took to X to announce the official shuttering of the J. Edgar Hoover FBI headquarters building. Patel first made this announcement in May during an interview on Fox News Sunday Morning Futures program with Maria Bartiromo. Since Congress holds the power of the purse to designate what happens with federal buildings, Patel cleared the proper channels in order to finally execute his plan. He posted on X December 26th, shutting down the Hoover building. After more than 20 years of failed attempts, we finalized a plan to permanently close FBI's Hoover headquarters and move the workforce into a safe, modern facility, working directly with President Trump and Congress. Now, we accomplished what no one else could, he continues, He goes, when we arrived, taxpayers were about to be on the hook for nearly $5 billion for a new headquarters that wouldn't open until 2035. They scrapped that plan. Instead, they selected the already existing Reagan building, saving billions and allowing the transition to begin immediately with required safety and infrastructure upgrades already underway. Once complete, most of the HQ FBI workforce will move in, and the rest are continuing in our ongoing push to put more manpower in the field where they will remain. He says, this decision puts resources where they belong, defending the homeland, crushing violent crime, and protecting national security. Don't forget that violent crime, especially murders, is at let's just say a all-time low for modern history right now. Anyway, he continues and says, it delivers better tools for today's FBI workforce at a fraction of the cost. Now, for those of you that don't understand why this is happening, the Hoover building itself has been a money suck since its inception. The original construction was planned to be set in 1963 for an estimated $60 million back then. The construction wasn't actually completed until over 10 years later, and to the tune of almost double the original amount, actually over double the original amount of $126 million. The closure of this headquarters fulfills Patel's new promise of a new FBI that would be transparent, accountable, and focus on letting cops be cops. With a more streamlined D.C. workforce, this means that along with agents being launched back into field work, state and regional headquarters will now be more fully staffed. The benefit of this has become evident with the trafficking arrests, the narcotics bust, the thwarting of mass casualty terror plots in both Michigan and California, not to mention all of the, murders and everything else that's going on. Yeah. Anyway, so, yeah. So many people are, of course, saying good riddance. Now, in May, Patel also signaled plans to increase personnel to Redstone Arsenal in Huntsville, Alabama. In a Senate oversight hearing, Patel committed to Alabama Senator Katie Britt that these plans were already being implemented. In mid-December, the FBI's Deputy Assistant Director for IT Infrastructure, by the name of Kevin Jones, updated elected leaders and personnel at Redstone Arsenal. Jones said there are 2,200 FBI personnel already stationed at this facility. 500 of that number are agents who moved from D.C. to the South. The FBI plans to expand that number to 4,000 by 2030. So, Jones mentioned that the Huntsville facility will create one of the largest concentrated footprints of any FBI division in the United States. Personnel will work at the Richard Shelby Center for Innovation and Advanced Technology, which is the new name for the FBI's official campus on Redstone Arsenal. Workers will initially be stationed at the North Campus of the FBI building. That building houses the FBI technology, cyber, analytics, and instructional environments. These actions represent the return of the Bureau back to enforcing laws, fighting crime, and making communities in the nation safer. Here's hoping that under Patel's continued leadership of the FBI that we see a vastly different agency in the coming years. I would just like to see a vastly different agency that perp walks some of these leftist lunatic morons who have been interfering in our elections, have been doing all kinds of crazy crap, you know, trying to like release files and that shouldn't be released, and trying to get people who are not on terrorist watch lists put on terrorist watch lists. Yeah, I would just like to see the FBI actually be the FBI again. You know, the Federal Bureau of Investigation, not the comic cops that it has been in the past. And some of this, you know, has already changed. I mean, for 4 years, they sat on the whole DNC bombing. Here we are a year later, under the leadership of Kash Patel and deputy director leadership of Dan Bongino, who sadly is leaving at the end of the month. But in one year, they were able to capture, not even a full year, they were able to capture the individual responsible for putting those fake bombs next to the RNC and the DNC. So we've already seen advantages with all of this, which is fantastic that we're seeing advantages, but let's just hope that these things continue. All right. Well, to kind of talk a little bit more about the accomplishments of the past year, Republicans erased a record number of Biden regulations, leftist lunatic regulations, that were put in under the Biden administration. These regulations were erased in 2025. And here, here are some of the worst ones. Oh, my bad. I probably shouldn't have done that on camera, but it is what it is. Sorry about that, folks. Anyway, congressional Republicans, this in the Daily Caller. Let me go ahead and pull this up. This is in the Daily Caller. Congressional Republicans capped off 2025 with one notable accomplishment, overturning a record number of regulations enacted under former President Joe Biden, which is cool because, I mean, if we can erase this guy from history completely, I think he's already on his way, because let's face it, Democrat donors won't even donate to his presidential library anymore. So I don't even think we'll ever see a Biden presidential library, unless, of course, it's a office in a strip mall that's smaller than a nail salon. Anyway, moving on. Republicans undid 22 regulations issued in the final months of Biden's presidency that restrict fossil fuel production. They phase out the sale of gas-powered cars and limit access to credit in the name of capping overdraft fees. The record number of resolutions of disapproval used to block regulations signed into law by President Donald Trump is the most that any Congress, since the Congressional Review Act was enacted in 1996. GOP lawmakers also rescinded 14 regulations during Trump's first term in 2017. So they got 14 from Obama. They took out 22 in the Biden presidency. So basically what the Congressional Review Act allows Congress to do is to rescind recent administrative rulemakings with a simple majority vote in both chambers, along with the president's stamp of approval. The Senate Majority Whip, John Barrasso, said in a floor speech on December 17th, by reining in Biden's heavy-handed bureaucrats, we're saving Americans $180 billion. That pencils out to over $2,000 in savings for each and every family. So here's some of the biggest ones. Some of the biggest ones that they did. Number one was the banning of new gas-powered cars. Yeah, that was really stupid. I'm sorry. Look, I am all for trying to make or leave this earth better than what we came into it with. But let's be honest, we are not going to get away. We are not going to get away with leaving gas-powered cars. We're just not going to. Our entire process, our entire economy is built off of petroleum. Everything that we do is got petroleum in it. Even things that you may not even believe are petroleum, like our clothing. Pretty much anything that is in manufactured threads, meaning non-cotton, is some level of petroleum. All of our nylon, polyester, all of that stuff, that is part and parcel by petroleum. Everything that we carry around in our pocket these days, like our cell phones, our credit cards, anything made from plastic, is pretty much petroleum-based. And it goes even farther than that. But a lot of people don't seem to understand this. They seem to think that we're going to be able to walk away from petroleum products, because our energy sources, they spew gases into the air. Well, there's a lot more to it than that, folks. And these leftist lunatics that are out there trying to get rid of the oil and gas industry are in for a rude awakening. I told you the story about watching these idiots go downtown in my town because there happened to be some sort of an oil rig or something like that was stopping here on its way, stopping in Seattle, I should say, on its way to Alaska. And one of these things that these idiots did is they all jumped in their Subarus and the other electric cars, because, of course, the beatniks around here, I don't know if a beatnik is what you would call them, but anyway, these idiots around here, they always run around in their Subarus and everything else. They had, all of these, they had these canoes and kayaks, which were all made from plastic. And they go jump into the harbor, because obviously Puget Sound is a bit of a harbor. And they go jump in the Puget Sound, and they're in their plastic kayaks, and they surrounded this, ship or whatever this structure was, and they were protesting the fact that this thing was even stopping here in, oh my God, Seattle. Never mind the history of Seattle and how Seattle grew during the gold rush of Alaska. Yeah. Anyway, So they run their gas-powered cars. They're in their petroleum-based product boats. Not to mention they're all wearing like life vests, which are all created from like nylon, which again is all petroleum-based. And they're sitting there trying to argue over the fact that there's a petroleum mining machine, is the best way to, I guess, describe it, that's here. And they're doing it thinking that they're all green. I'm sitting here saying, hey, what the hell? Why don't you guys make a kayak out of sugar and spun sugar or something? And yeah, all natural product. Go ahead and do that. Yeah. Anyway, the whole idea of getting rid of gas-powered cars, I think, getting rid of them completely. Now, keep in mind, I'm a fan of a hybrid because the hybrid gives you kind of the best of both worlds. You get great gas mileage, which will help reduce your carbon footprint, but also doesn't make it so that you're doing, absolutely horribly bad for the environment like an electric car would be because of the battery that is non-recyclable and all that stuff. Anyway, I digress. Another law that was rescinded by the GOP had to deal with the coal leasing in America's top coal region. So GOP lawmakers voted in October to repeal a Biden-era rule that was restricting millions of acres of land in the Powder River Basin, spanning Montana and Wyoming, from future mining. Republican Montana Senator Steve Daines argued the Biden's administration's move to end coal leasing in the resource-rich region following the 2024 election amounted to a midnight rule with little political support among the affected states. So again, yeah. Daines, alongside fellow Republican Montana Senator Tim Sheehy and Representatives Troy Downing and Ryan Zinke, spearheaded the successful effort to nix the heavy-handed resource management plan. So there you go. So they got rid of his idea to try and restrict that. Now, speaking of Alaska, I just told you a little story about that, blocking energy production in Alaska. So in December, Trump signed into law 2 resolutions of disapproval overturning Biden-era rules restricting energy production in Alaska. The Biden regulations, which were finalized after the 2024 election, blocked oil and gas leasing across 13 million acres across the central Yukon in the name of conservation and restricted future energy production in the Arctic National Wildlife Refuge coastal plain, known as ANWR. Representative Nick Begich, Begich, told the Daily Caller News Foundation in December, "When we unlock Alaska, we are strengthening America's national security and economic posture in this generation and for generations to come. These bills are not isolated. They are representative of a long-term strategy to rebuild our energy strength, reconstruct our critical mineral inventory, and ensure that America, not China, controls the supply chains that power our economy." Alaska's congressional delegation and many tribal communities within the last frontier state argued that the Biden-era regulations tamping down energy production were economically devastating. Gee, I wonder why. Begich told the Daily Caller News Foundation, quote, "The economy on the North Slope is oil and gas activity. The building blocks of communities, schools, healthcare, roads, and running water exist due to the economic base our early leaders ensured that we had access to." So another item that was overturned was instituting price controls on overdraft fees. Republicans voted in the spring to undo the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau rule that limited most bank overdraft fees to $5, far less than the $35 average that they had before. The Biden administration approved the controversial rulemaking capping the amount banks can charge their customers when they overdraft their checking accounts in December of 2024. GOP lawmakers and the banking industry warned the overdraft fee rule would reduce the amount of credit that banks can provide to low-income customers, who would be forced to turn to payday lenders that typically charge higher interest rates. Opponents of the rule also slammed the agency for overstepping its authority to regulate checking accounts. Senate Banking Committee Chairman Tim Scott said in May the Biden administration's ill-conceived rule imposing new price controls on overdraft services provided by banks and credit unions barred the very consumers the CFPB, the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, is supposed to protect. The rule would have reduced access to credit and important financial services and resulted in more unbanked Americans. They also pulled back, driving up costs for commercial appliances. So the Trump administration approved 2 resolutions of disapproval in May, canceling the Biden regulations that imposed stringent energy efficiency standards on walk-in coolers and freezers, and a separate rule targeting commercial refrigerators and freezers. Republicans argued that this Biden-era rule imposed a high-cost burden on the small businesses who would have to comply with the new standards and limited customer choice. They said Republican Oklahoma Representative Stephanie Bice, or Bice, B-I-C-E, however it's pronounced, she sponsored one of the resolutions of disapproval. She said in a statement in March, quote, "This regulation, which has an estimated cost of $1 billion, would have been crippling for businesses throughout the country, especially in rural areas." The Republicans also successfully nixed a Biden Department of Energy rule that was banning some gas water heaters by 2029. And those are just the ones that are, the most affected. There were 22 in total that they all took care of. All right. Let me tell you a little bit about this wonderful elixir I start every single morning with. That's right, it's coffee. It's coffee. And if you still haven't tried 1775 coffee, now is your shot. The 1775 starter kit has just dropped. There is a limited number of units available. In each unit, you're getting the bold dark roast that hits hard, the smooth medium roast, and the Vitality Mushroom Coffee for clean energy and laser focus with no crash. All of these are single origin, small batch, toxin-free, and mold-free. Plus, you're also getting the gold spoon clip. Because, let's face it, freedom is not scooped with plastic. A frother that is strong enough to stir up not only your coffee, but your mother-in-law's opinions as well, as if she needs any help. I mean, let's just say, yeah. And you'll also be receiving a black 1775 tumbler. It's $170 worth of coffee and gear, yours for just $99. This is for the ones who have been watching 1775 coffee blow up on Rumble and have been wondering if it's actually worth it. Well, spoiler alert, it is. Go to 1775coffee.com. That's 1775coffee.com/studio. Now, the / is your question mark key. So /studio. And grab your starter kit before they are gone. That's 1775coffee.com /studio to grab your starter kit before they are gone. Bold beans, clean fuel, and a morning routine that stands for something, just like Rumble does. Go to 1775coffee.com /studio and grab your starter kit today. And don't forget, 1775 is a wake-up worthy of breaking the ice in any Valley Forge crossing. Yeah, anyway, that's G's contribution. All right. Well, I don't know if anybody heard about this, but over the Christmas break, U.S. had some airstrikes on some ISIS camps in Nigeria. And it was done on Christmas Day. I'm kind of surprised that the leftists aren't going nuts over this. I mean, they went all crazy over the drug boats that were coming from Venezuela. They called them fishing boats. I mean, these boats had like 4 outboard large engine motors on them with what appeared to be drums of additional fuel, along with bundles of, heroin, cocaine, whatever it was that they were bringing in. And they called them fishing boats. I mean, I don't know. I was, I grew up on watching Miami Vice, and I saw those cigarette boats. That's what they called them. They're very long and narrow, and they're very, very fast in the water. Anyway, I recognized it immediately. As soon as I saw the photo, I said, oh, that's a cigarette boat. Yeah, that's a drug boat for sure. Anyway, not your typical fishing vessel at all. But anyway, I'm kind of surprised that these leftists haven't like gone all crazy over the fact that Trump airstruck some ISIS camps in Nigeria. Now, Trump said that he ordered the strikes in northwest Nigeria in response to a terrorist group that was killing innocent Christians. And the Nigeria prime minister says that the country's president gave Trump the go-ahead for these airstrikes. Prime Minister Yusuf Tuggar said that he spoke with the Secretary of State Marco Rubio prior to the strikes, and Nigerian President Bola Tinubu gave the go-ahead, according to CNN. Whoever is prepared to work with us to fight terrorism, we are ready, willing, and able, he said about the strikes Thursday. Sorry, I don't know why I threw that accent in there. It just was fun. Whatever, didn't mean anything by it. Anyway, Trump announced in the social media post late on Thursday that he had ordered the strikes in northwest Nigeria in response to the terrorist group killing innocent Christians. U.S. Africa Command said in a news release the strikes were in the Sokoto state, which borders Niger to the north. In coordination with Nigerian authorities, the release also said multiple ISIS terrorists were killed in the camps. Now, there apparently was some intelligence that was shared by Nigeria to the United States. And Nigeria says that it shared this intelligence. Trump warned the terrorists that there would be hell to pay if the slaughter of Christians continued in Nigeria. So Nigeria, of course, said that they shared the intelligence with the U.S. ahead of the Christmas night airstrikes. The Nigerian Ministry of Foreign Affairs confirmed on Friday that it was, quote, engaged in structured security cooperation with other nations, including the United States, adding that the cooperation led to precision hits on terrorist targets. The ministry said that the joint security efforts included the sharing of intelligence and strategic coordination. The Nigerian ministry wrote a statement posted on X that said, Nigeria reiterates that all counterterrorism efforts are guided by the primacy of protecting civilian lives, safeguarding national unity, and upholding the rights and dignity of all citizens, irrespective of faith or ethnicity. Terrorist violence in any form, whether directed at Christians, Muslims, or other communities, remains an affront to Nigeria's values and to international peace and security. So, yeah. Anyway, of course, Trump said in his Truth Social post on Thursday, tonight at my direction, as Commander-in-Chief, the United States launched a powerful and deadly strike against ISIS terrorist scum in northwest Nigeria. who have been targeting and viciously killing primarily innocent Christians at levels not seen for many years and even centuries. I have previously warned these terrorists that if they did not stop the slaughtering of Christians, that there would be hell to pay, and tonight there was. The Department of War executed numerous perfect strikes, as only the United States is capable of doing. Under my leadership, our country will not allow radical Islamic terrorism to prosper. May God bless our military, and Merry Christmas to all, including the dead terrorists, of which there may be many more, or there will be many more, if their slaughter of Christians continues. So there you go. And I'm actually really kind of surprised that that the left hasn't really said anything about this. Anyway, it was confirmed, by the way, by a Christian charity called Open Doors. They said that their sources in Nigeria stated that the airstrikes have hit terrorist camps in Jabo, a rural community in Tambowal, local government area of Sokoto State, with multiple ISIS militants reportedly killed. Jabo is predominantly a predominantly Fulani town in Sokoto State, and has been identified as a haven for militants and linked to neighboring states such as Kebbi and Zamfara. To the best of our knowledge, there is no church presence in Jabo. So, anyway, apparently there are fears, which of course that should come at the end of anything. There are fears right now in terms of retaliation because of the airstrike. So, for those of you that don't know, Open Doors is a global Christian charity supporting Christians persecuted for their faith. So, yeah, there you go. All right. All right. Well, moving back into the United States now. I don't know if anybody has caught, but Trump has his name on another building. It was added to the Kennedy Center, and now it was added, and I guess the name of the building is now the Trump Kennedy Center. I actually think it should be the Trump Reagan Kennedy Center, or just the Trump Reagan Center. But whatever. Anyway, there is a specific Democrat who has now launched a lawsuit. Now, keep in mind, Trump didn't go out of his way to do this. It was actually the Kennedy Center's board that decided to put his name on it, and they did it appropriately and so on and so forth. This is crap is what this is. But anyway, a Democrat congresswoman has now launched a lawsuit to remove President Trump's name from the newly named Trump Kennedy Center. Representative Joyce Beatty, she's from Ohio, District 3, announced the lawsuit after the venue's board voted unanimously last week to add Trump's name to the iconic location for his efforts to save the institution from its financial failures. So in other words, Trump saved, or his efforts attempted to save the Kennedy Center from its own financial undoings. They rewarded him by saying, hey, because you worked so hard and you tried to save us and everything else, you did what you could, we're going to put your name on the building. And so there you go. We're going to put your name on the building. And everybody on the venue's board said, yeah, that sounds like a good reward. Which, let's face it, that's how most people get buildings named after them or bridges named after them. They either do something great, they help them financially in a very large way, or whatever. I mean, they support them somehow. They do lifetime support or whatever. This is nothing unusual. Going and naming somebody or putting somebody's name on a building is nothing unusual when that person, does things that are above and beyond in order to try and and help the organization or whatever that owns the building. This is nothing unusual. This is nothing really all that climactic. But the Democrats, of course, cannot stand to have the name Trump, especially in D.C., because I don't think Trump has a hotel in D.C., although don't be surprised if he doesn't put one in, if he doesn't already have one in D.C. I don't know, maybe one of my unofficial producers can look that up on the web and see if that actually is the case. But, sorry, mouth's a little dry. But this particular Democrat is now trying to sue in order to get his name taken off. So, yeah. Anyway, Betty's lawsuit, or Beatty's lawsuit, however she pronounces her last name. Anyway, lawsuit argues that the board's actions itself were illegal and that any renaming of the venue would have required approval from Congress. Now, I'm not exactly sure how that would work, but the lawsuit apparently is filled with seemingly unending stream of flailing against President Trump and his hand-picked loyalists on the board. It states that renaming of the building is more reminiscent of authoritarian regimes than the American Republic. The lawsuit continues and says this is a flagrant violation of the rule of law and it flies in the face of our constitutional order. Congress intended for the center to be a living memorial to President Kennedy and a crown jewel for the arts of all Americans, irrespective of party. Unless and until this court intervenes, defendants will continue to defy Congress and thwart the law for improper ends. That's kind of interesting because I don't know if that's really the case. Anyway, so White House spokesman Liz Huston said in a statement to ABC News regarding the lawsuit that President Trump, quote, stepped up and saved the old Kennedy Center. Now, the Kennedy Center, of course, seemingly did not release, the ABC News release did not release the full contents of the White House statement. So, yeah. Oh, okay. So one of my Whiskey Warrior unofficial producers has found that Donald Trump apparently previously owned the Trump International Hotel in Washington, D.C., which was located in the old post office building. However, he sold the hotel in 2022, and it was now been rebranded as the Waldorf Astoria Hotel. So he did have a hotel in D.C. Yeah. Anyway. So... Oh, yeah. Here's a little levity really quick before I move on to my next comment about the Kennedy Center. But Palms says, my mother, who just turned 82, heard someone state that they voted for Obama. Her reply was that we all make mistakes. I voted for Jimmy Carter. Yes, folks, Jimmy Carter, Barack Obama, Woodrow Wilson, Joe Biden, and I think there's at least one other in that list. There's at least 5 that are all vying for the worst president in human history or in American history. And they are definitely all 5 are in the running. All right. Well, apparently it's not just Democrats that were causing a ruckus over this renaming of the Trump Kennedy Center. Apparently there was a musician who objected to the renaming so bad that he had a... So here's the thing. On Christmas Eve, he had a jazz concert that was supposed to be held, and he canceled it. So this musician is by the name of Chuck Reed, or Red, R-E-D-D. He has hosted the concert for the last several years. And he said he canceled the concert because of the Trump name going up on the building. Well, apparently the center's president, his name is Richard Grinnell, notified Red that the center intends to seek damages against him for pulling out for partisan political reasons. Oh, these people think that they can just do stuff just without any kind of like legal repercussion. Anyway, Grinnell wrote in a response, he says, your decision to withdraw at the last moment, explicitly in response to the center's recent renaming, which honors President Trump's extraordinary efforts to save this national treasure, is classic intolerance and very costly to a nonprofit arts institution. He adds, regrettably, your action surrenders to the sad bullying tactics employed by certain elements on the left who have sought to intimidate artists into boycotting performances at our National Cultural Center. So, also, Grinnell added, getting a little extra dig in, said that Red's event had been lagging considerably behind our other Christmas and holiday offerings, that the contrast was drastic. He also writes, this is your official notice that we will seek $1 million in damages from you for this political stunt. Well, it wasn't just Grinnell that got into it, because Red was also ripped by another Kennedy Center official by saying any artist canceling their show at the Trump Kennedy Center over political differences isn't courageous or principled. They are selfish, intolerant, and failed to meet the basic duty of a public artist, to perform for all people. That was the Vice President of Public Relations, Roma Daravi, Daravi. She told the Washington Post that. Oh, yeah, these people just need to, they need to realize that just because they have Trump derangement syndrome does not mean that they get to just do stuff with impunity. Yeah, anyway. So the Trump Kennedy Center is continuing to put on great events, including the Kennedy Center Honors event. They're also bringing in a lot of donations to help restore the building itself. Where were some of these people who are now upset when the building itself was falling into disrepair? That's a question for you leftists. Where were you? Where were you with all of this? I mean, hell, if Biden had been able to raise a whole bunch of money and try to save the Kennedy Center, it could have been the Biden Kennedy Center. But no, Trump, who is a billionaire, has been putting money into all kinds of projects like this, and he goes and tries to save it, and they reward him by saying, you know what, we appreciate all your efforts. We're going to put your name on it. So there you go. Anyways, these bastards that are out there that are sitting here with all their TDS and everything else, including the Rob Reiners of the world, they can keep tossing their fits. But the show is going to go on with or without them. So there you go. Well, speaking of a whiny hissy fit, yes, another whiny hissy fit idiot running around in Minnesota. Well, Tim Walz. God, I am so glad. Look, I am just so glad that Kamala Harris was as bad as who she was, and that she decided to pick this moron for her running mate. Because God knows, if these two had gotten into the office, holy crap, we would have been in such deep doo-doo, it's not even funny. Tim Walz, who is already under fire, by the way, for the billions of dollars in fraud that have been going on in his state as governor. His state. That's right. His state. He allowed it to happen. Not only that, but he also bragged about how many kids he was feeding. I mean, seriously. I can't even believe this. But anyway, so Governor Tim Walz apparently apparently there's a viral video that's out about this. And this viral video is showing a Minnesota daycare that apparently received millions in public funding. The Quality Learning Center, which was licensed to care for up to 99 children, appears completely empty. And this was brought to the forefront, by the way, by a guy by the name of Nick Shirley. He's an independent videographer. And he recorded this. But the emptiness, by the way, isn't the most embarrassing part. They apparently can't even spell learning. Even though it's the Learning Center, they can't even spell learning. Here, let's see what this is all about.
Quality Learning Center. I meant to say Quality Learning Center.
Don't open
They
up!
said they spelt learning wrong.
Don't open up!
How do you have ice here, ma'am? I'm literally a YouTuber.
Don't open up!
Ma'am, what do you think about the fraud that's taking place here in Minnesota?
Don't open up! We have ice!
And what do you think about this place being licensed for 99 children
Don't open up!
and getting $4 million
Don't
over
open
the
up! It's ice!
$4 million in the last 2 years?
Go away!
What do you think about that? Are you in
Go
favor?
away!
Are you in favor of that?
Go away!
You know
You're
what
not welcome here!
Are you-
Shame on you!
Are you in favor of $1.9
Shame
million
on you! It's
going
ice!
illegally,
Don't open up!
fraudulently to this business that has Quality Learning Center but can't even spell learning right on the door?
Don't open up!
Ma'am, we are not ICE.
I don't care who you are, you don't belong here.
I belong here just like you belong here.
Don't open up! It's ice!
You do realize that there's supposed to be 99 children in here at this building, but there's no one here. This is a child daycare
Minnesota
center.
says 99 children. They had $1.9 million this year in CCAP funding. Do you know where the children are? Were they kidnapped? They run away? Where are the children? This is state of Minnesota. Right here.
And who are you?
My name's Nick Shirley, ma'am.
And who are you with?
Nick Shirley. Nick Shirley on YouTube.
Yeah, so who are you with here?
Oh, he's just been doing some research investigating the fraud that's taking place here in Minnesota.
Yeah, I'm with Nick Shirley.
This lady, she's calling us ICE. We're just trying to...
Oh my gosh, how stupid are these people? Oh my gosh. Don't open up, it's ice. Really? There's nobody else there. There's not a single other person there other than Nick Shirley and this other guy. There's nobody around. There's not a damn person around other than Nick and this other guy who you heard on the audio for those audio listeners is sitting there, and he's just like, they can't even spell learning right on the sign. It says the Quality Learning Center, Learing. And you sit there and think to yourselves that, oh yeah, the government can do this. The government can do all of this stuff. Yeah. Well, apparently this is so Fox News Digital carried this a little bit further. Okay. Carried this a little bit further, and a third-ranking leader in the House of Representatives, who also happens to hail from Minnesota, demanded answers from Governor Tim Walz after Nick tried to confront employees of the alleged daycare center that had misspelled signage and no signs of activities outside, but reportedly received up to $4 million in state funds. Well, yeah, the Emmer says $4 million of hard-earned tax dollars going to an education center that can't even spell the word learning correctly. Care to explain this one, Tim Walz? He wrote that in a post on X. So the Quality Learning Center also recently made news for collecting 95 violations from the State Human Services Agency between 2019 and 2023, according to the St. Paul's ABC affiliate. Such violations ranged from failure to keep hazardous items away from kids to the daycare not having any records for more than a dozen listed children, according to the outlet. Documentation that was reviewed by Fox News Digital showed the site's current license does not expire until the end of 2026. Yeah. Now, Nick Shirley released a separate 43-minute video that's entitled, "I Investigated Minnesota's billion-dollar fraud scandal." He says that he spent a single day visiting questionable daycares and health service offices and uncovered over $110 million in apparent fraud. In another viral clip on X, shows Shirley visiting a building that houses multiple healthcare companies. In the video, Shirley points out that potentially the largest fraud scandal in U.S. history is taking place in Minnesota, as literally billions of dollars have been funneled through Somali-run fraudulent businesses. So much fraud, it could actually almost replace the entire GDP of Somalia. He added these fraudsters have been working hand in hand with the Minnesota government as they enabled billions of dollars to be given to fraudulent businesses underneath welfare purposes. See, and you people, you leftist idiots are sitting here thinking that, all of these businesses and everything else are legit, that the government itself is legit. The government getting into healthcare, getting into daycare, spending money on all of this stuff, welfare-wise, not only in the federal government, is unconstitutional, but it opens up, because of the lackadaisical policing of these things, is just absolutely asinine. And you sit here and wonder why we're $37 trillion in debt because of all these social programs. And yes, I am blaming the social programs. Because let's face it, the social programs, which were initially set up and supposed to be just for Americans to get them back on their feet after the devastating Depression, which, by the way, FDR, according to some analysts, increased by 12 years. That if he'd have done nothing, the assumption was that the Great Depression would have only lasted maybe 3 or 4 years instead of the long years that it was under his leadership. Now, he, of course, increased government in its size and scope unconstitutionally, opened it up to all kinds of things, set up all of this stuff. There are no social programs in the Constitution. All you need to do is look under Article 1, Section 8 of the Constitution to know what the federal government and its enumerated purposes are supposed to be. And yes, I did state enumerated. The reason being is because if you read the Federalist Papers, the majority of which were made by James Madison himself, who is considered to be the author, widely considered to be the author of the Constitution between him and Hamilton, Alexander Hamilton. But James Madison basically stated the reason why I did that is because the federal government cannot grab what it isn't told that it can be done. Now, again, I've said on multiple occasions on this is that, you know what? I don't mind if you want the federal government to do this. If you really want the federal government to do this, then go through the proper channel. Go through the Article 5 process. Get it added as an amendment. Then you can do whatever you like at that point. Because if 2/3 of Congress and 3/4 of the states go ahead and pass that as an amendment, then we deserve what we get, good and hard. But until then, healthcare does not, the word healthcare, anything regarding healthcare, food, payments, paying people money like the universal basic income ideas, all of that stuff that everybody talks about in terms of social programs, not one of those words even shows up in the Constitution at all as a purpose of the federal government or anywhere to be involved with this. So, anyway, you might want to, if you like that little video, you might want to go ahead and follow Nick Shirley on his X account. Apparently, he is a YouTuber. He also apparently has a channel on Rumble here. And as well as his, I don't know, does he have a Facebook or whatever? Anyway, you might want to go and check all of that. Anyway. Yeah, that's pretty interesting. Yeah. Well, Tim Walz. I'm just going to say Tim Walz. What a disaster. And I got to be honest with you, I'm kind of glad. I'm very glad that he did not gain access to our national government. So, anyway. Yeah. All right. We obviously have a huge problem in Minnesota. And it's not just Minnesota. I also know like Maine and Massachusetts, they all have a Somali immigrants. And we're only picking on the Somalis right now because the Somalis they're believe it, that's part of their culture. They are supposed to. They expect to be able to commit fraud against government agencies, against the government in order to survive back in Somalia. This is just par for the course for them. Yeah. Anyway. Well, we're getting closer and closer to the end of the year. And as that, one of the biggest events that pretty much everybody, for the most part, has tuned into. I mean, I can certainly remember Dick Clark doing the ball drop in Times Square. The ball drop for New Year's Eve. That's what everybody stayed up for. Even those of us on the Pacific Coast, even though the ball drop would happen at 9 p.m. Pacific time, we all watched it. You know, American Bandstand's Dick Clark, one of the greatest guys that would do it. And there were several others throughout the years that have all done it. But now, for the first time that I'm aware of, the New Year's Eve Times Square will host not one, but two separate ball drops for 2026. The first drop, of course, is to ring in the new year. But the second is planned as part of the 250th anniversary of the United States of America. That's right. 1776 to 2026 is 250 years that this great country has been on this planet. And the organizers of the America 250 nonprofit group have said that for the first time ever, since the first ball drop in 1907 in New York City, there's going to be a second ball drop in 2026. Now that is going to take place on July 3rd and serve as a countdown to Independence Day, to mark the 250th anniversary of the founding of America. So to ring in the 4th of July, starting with the same type of festivities that you would normally see on New Year's Eve, what better way to represent this global impact that we as a country have and the responsibility that comes with that? Rosie Rios, who is the chair of the America 250 nonprofit organization, explained. She adds, whatever you're imagining as a broadcast performance, it's much more than that. It's going to be huge. It's going to be beyond anybody's expectations. And those watching at home and in Times Square will get a preview of the patriotic fun planned for the festivities. At approximately 12:04 on January 1st, the ball will light up in red, white, and blue as 2,000 pounds of confetti will rain down on the crowd after the New Year's Eve ball drop. So, America 250, which has teamed up with One Times Square and the Times Square Alliance, told Good Morning America that the confetti will be followed by a dynamic pyrotechnic display to put everyone in the patriotic mood, accompanied by Ray Charles's America the Beautiful, as the ball features a special design. Well, we may have to, I may have to simulcast that for New Year's Eve. I may have to simulcast that. So anyway, so that's going to happen on New Year's to start. And again, keep in mind, that's for 2026, the 250th anniversary of the forming of this great country. That's it for me for tonight, folks. Do me a favor, if you haven't already, head on over to rumble.com, get yourself an account. It is free. And once you are signed up and signed in, make sure that you search up the American Perspective channel and hit that green follow button to get notified every time that I go live. Also, too, don't forget to hit those thumbs up, thumbs downs, or if you're 3 Chevy, the thumb sideways across all of my platforms, whether it is X, YouTube, Facebook, or, of course, the aforementioned Rumble. We will see you Monday, 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, right here on American Perspective. Have a great rest of your weekend, a fantastic Sunday, and we will see you on Monday. Good night, everybody.